welcome to another AIC Productions video. So, I've been asked this question on this HP laptop multiple times. And basically the question has been, can you purchase such and so video, audio editing software to try on this computer? I'm going to tell you the answer right now is no. I don't have the means to go out and buy. I've been asked for at least half a dozen, closer to a dozen different programs to try. I just don't have the means to do that. I'm going to demonstrate this specifically with Movie Maker. Turn this down a little bit. So that you can see a comparison. And then from there you can make your judgments. Most of these programs have a recommended minimum hardware. I would use that. I would make your judgment call off of that. If they have a pretty high minimum recommended hardware and it's higher than what you're willing to spend the money to buy, or at least higher, significantly higher than this particular system as far as its hardware goes, you may want to look elsewhere. Just gonna throw that out there, just because it's something I get asked a lot. And I'm going to show you with Windows Movie Maker. So I have two systems here. On the left, on this system, I have my Lenovo T540, T420. I've had a 540 in the past, but this is a T420. It's running a 2nd gen Core i5. On the right, we have the HP with the AMD APU, and I have exactly the same file. I'm going to copy it over into Movie Maker, and then I'm going to save that file in a different format so you can see the amount of time it takes to perform those functions. Now, first things first, we're going to look at this screen. This screen is just glorious. It's such a pretty screen, and it's ridiculous on a $200 computer to have this nice of a screen. And then we're going to go over to the Lenovo, and back in its day this was a nearly $1,300 computer. It's running at half the resolution that the HP is, and it's not nearly as nice a screen. So anyways, let's go ahead, and you see by the size of the icons the resolution difference between the two. So I'll copy over first the one on the HP, get that going, and then we'll do the Lenovo. Okay, now they're a moment apart, but you can see the bar down here. We'll zoom in. Here, you'll see the progress down there. You can see that bar on both computers. And you can already see that the one on the Lenovo is progressing significantly faster. These are both running SSDs with a similar performance. I did a benchmark on both these systems. You can see that in my previous video where I benchmarked the HP, and I showed the benchmarks from the Lenovo in that. But you can just see how much faster this is. And we'll go in and I'll bring up the task manager, and this is running at 77% CPU. So they're both consuming, this one's dropped down to about 66, 68. It's about the same. So they're running between 65 and 70% CPU. They're both running about 30% memory. They both have 8 gigs. Now, one thing with the Lenovo is it can run in dual channel with the memory. I don't know how much of a difference that makes with this particular project, but overall it definitely is a faster performing system. And it is almost done, and we are only about halfway on the HP. And you just see this resolution though. I mean, that's why I bought this laptop, is for the screen. I've upgraded the memory, I've upgraded the storage, but I've really purchased it for this screen. Most of what I do is remote work, and so this laptop doesn't have to do the heavy lifting for me. My remote servers are. And this has been done now for a few moments. So you can see this was significantly faster just to open and process this video file. And this is a video I did of the gaming on the HP. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds here for the HP to finish up, and then we will save this file in another format, and we'll see how long that takes. We're now about 5.5 minutes into this video. I know I talked a bit before that, but what I'll do is I'll put a time at the end of each one of these to give you the exact time that it took. And we're just about there. So yeah, huge difference. So if you're doing video editing, if you're doing audio editing, look at a used system. Look at a used workstation system. HP had a bunch, Dell has a bunch, Lenovo has a bunch. You know, something with a second or third gen Core i5, Core i system, Core i7 system. You're gonna get better performance out of that system. And this one's just about done. It's doing audio right now, and it's done. Okay, so this one took more than a minute longer, almost a minute and a half longer than this video. And it's about a 7.5 minute long video. It's done on the camera I'm using right now. It is done at a 1080 resolution, but it's not anything fancy. It's not anything too extravagant. It's not a RAW. It's an MPEG 4. But now what we're going to do is I typically export these files for YouTube. The reason being is they usually export significantly faster and upload faster if they're already exported for YouTube. So on this one, we're going to go to File, and we're going to save movie for... I haven't done it on this computer yet, so I have to go down to YouTube. And we're just going to call it My Movie on here. Doesn't really matter. Over here we're going to do the same thing. Save movie for YouTube. And we'll just go ahead and hit enter at the same time on these. A little bit easier to do it. So this one did take a moment longer to load, but you'll see that progress bar will just be a lot faster on the Lenovo with the 2nd gen Core i5 than it'll be on the HP. Now these systems cost within literally pennies of each other. This one was like $208 and change. This was $209 almost on the dot. So, or this was $208 on the dot and this was $209 and change. They were within $1, $2 of each other. Now, the HP, much nicer screen, much more aesthetically pleasing. It's half the weight. It's just overall a nicer looking system. The Lenovo, it is a more powerful system. It's old. It's older. I want to say it's at least 5 years old. But because it came out of the factory with a much faster processor, it's going to be faster than a low-end system is today. Just like a muscle car from 10 years ago is probably going to be faster than your economy car today, even though it costs less money. I know that's not a very good example, but it's the best one I can think of at this moment. It's just a faster machine. Now, a muscle car from the 60s probably isn't as fast as, depending on the car, as a lot of modern, family cars. You can buy a family car that gets 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Where a lot of muscle cars from the 60s, 70s struggle to get there, even into the 80s. But, so, this one is already at 30% on the Lenovo, and the HP is only at 15-16% saving this file. So this computer is nearly currently twice as fast as the HP. The Lenovo is nearly twice as fast as the HP in saving this file. Now, if you do the one-off video like I do, and it's not that critical, you may be able to put up with the slower system. But if you're trying to run a business, run a channel, if you're doing this day in, day out, I mean, where's the money better spent? Is it better spent on something that saves you half the time it takes the other one to do it in? That's a stronger buy for me than something that's prettier. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be able to have several systems, so I love this HP because, as I said, I use it for work, and I do a lot of remote work. So I'm logging into remote servers, I'm logging into web applications, and so having something that gives me a lot of screen real estate is a lot more important to me than having horsepower for this laptop, for its specific use case. Okay, this system, on the other hand, when I am doing work like this here at home, and I want to not be at my normal desk where I normally work, then this is the better system for me because it's faster. And now when I say work, I'm talking about working on these videos. This is just a faster system, and so I'm going to use this one over this one when I need the horsepower. Same thing with gaming. If I'm playing some casual games, I'm going to probably use this one over this one. Even though this one has such a nice screen on it, Minecraft doesn't need a nice screen. Minecraft's just a bunch of blocks. So I'd go for this one because it's faster. It doesn't have... I've done a video on this. It doesn't have some of the more modern features. It doesn't have USB 3 on it, so copying files to and from it can be a bit laborious sometimes. But since I'm usually copying videos off my camera and not an external hard drive, it doesn't matter because the camera only does USB 2 anyways. But if I'm copying a lot of files on and off an external hard drive, it can be a little bit slower with this one. So again, I didn't... Oh, and I am doing this on battery. That's the other thing I wanted to mention, is I'm doing this on battery. They both had 100% charge when I started. And you'll see on the Lenovo, even though it has a 9-cell battery, it's going to use up more battery life than the HP. In fact, I'll show you that right now. So this one, the Lenovo says it has 1 hour and 11 minutes at my current usage, where the HP has nearly double that, over 2 hours, 2 hours and 4 minutes at my current usage. Now I'm running these systems currently at 100%. I'm about as maxing out as you could doing something like this. The screens are at 100% brightness. They're both at high performance battery, and so. But this one is already almost done with this video, saving it, encoding it. It's at 95% versus this one's 46%. So even though we're getting double the battery life out of this, it's taking twice as long to do the same amount of work. So if we have a specific amount of work to get done, this one's the one we probably want to get done with. So get it done in a certain amount of time. Now the Lenovo's finished, and we are working on the HP still. Scroll here. And again, they both have SSDs with very similar, if not the same, performance. Don't have to have exactly the same drive, so they're about as close as I can get performance-wise. They both have 8 gigs of memory, so they're about as similar as two completely different generation laptops can be. It'd be nice if they could if you get an extended battery for the HP, give up the battery life, because I have my Dell 3000 series here, and while this one will take even longer than the HP to record, its battery life, I get 6, 7, 8, 10 hours of battery, depending on what I'm doing with it. If I can drop the screen brightness down a little bit, if I'm just browsing the web and maybe watching some YouTube videos, stuff like that, answering emails, writing scripts, that sort of stuff, and I can turn my brightness down to 50%, I can get 10 hours out of that battery easy. Where with this laptop, about 4 hours on general use is about typical. If I'm doing, you know, gaming or anything like that, obviously it cuts that in half almost. But yeah, we're at 62%. So this one, the Lenovo, has been done now for a couple of minutes, pushing 3 minutes, and we are not even 2/3 of the way through on the HP. And I know it's kind of probably boring to sit and watch it process, but I want you to really understand how long this takes. And we just hit 2/3 of the way done with this video. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fans on these are pushing out a lot of air, especially on the Lenovo. That's, you know, the Lenovo is an older system. It's got an older processor, and it's not nearly as efficient processor, so it does get hotter. It's not something you want to always carry in your lap. It's heavier than the HP, but it's already done its work. It's already done its job. It's just sitting there. The keyboard on that computer, though, is really good. If you've used an older Lenovo or IBM laptop, the older ones have excellent keyboards. So if you do a lot of typing, definitely something to consider. I do a lot of typing. I'm a touch typist, so typing, having a good computer keyboard is very important to me. Alright, we're at 3/4 of the way done, a little over 75% now, 76%. And again, this one's now been done for going on 4 minutes now. You can see the size difference between the touchpads. There's the touchpad on the HP, the touchpad on the Lenovo's 2/3 the size of the one that's on the HP. The touchpad it was a weak point on the Lenovo for sure. Alright, we have 19% left, 18% left to go. And we're pushing 5 minutes almost now, getting close. Difference between the two. Show you the CPU usage. Sticking around 85%, 80%. So the disk is only sitting at about 1% usage. So the disk, in this case, really doesn't make a difference. This is almost entirely a CPU intensive task. And this computer is handling it pretty well. This file originally is about 1.25 gigs. So it's a fairly large file. I picked it specifically because I wanted something long enough or big enough that it would make a long enough video. Because I wanted this to be pretty painful for you. If you've stuck it out this long, I appreciate it. And we're getting close to being done. And we're pushing 6 minutes difference between the two. And again, at the end of this, once this is done, you should see a little window pop up that gives you the exact time that it took for the two to finish. I'll put it at the end of both of these, so that way we know exactly how long of a difference it is. I would not be surprised if it was more than twice as long to encode this video. And I don't want to completely dissuade you from buying this computer to do work like this. Again, if you're casual like I am, this computer should be more than enough. This computer is definitely a modern jack of all trades, master of none. It does a lot of things well, and partially that's because of the screen. You have a lot of real estate, and the fact that you can upgrade this computer. This would take even longer if I had not upgraded the memory to 8 gigs and the storage to an SSD, and that just finished, and we are pushing 7 minutes longer with the HP than with the Lenovo. So go ahead and end this video here. Thank you for watching. I'll put a link to both these laptops. You can still buy this Lenovo used on Amazon. It's about 200 bucks. It might even be cheaper now, depending on when you watch this video. Thank you for watching. I'll put the timestamps in there so that you probably have seen them already of how long that took. And I'm not going to tell you what to buy. There's pluses and minuses to both of them. I love both these laptops for their strengths, and I hate both of them for their weaknesses. And that's why I have more than one computer, which drives my wife absolutely, utterly insane, which I think is a good thing to do. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening.